like to also mention that I'm hoping that as we move forward in this new commission seating, that all of our wishes for our comprehensive plan, that we keep a close eye on our comprehensive plan and make sure that the Martin County difference is ironclad, and we keep it that way. We really need to focus on that. I'd also like to let you all know that my hope is that the best is yet to be. So thank you, each and every one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Pauline Becker is next, followed by Casey Ingram.
Good morning. My name is Pauline Becker. I have resided here permanently since 1998, and I came to visit here in Martin County on a regular basis since 1970. I am here this morning to congratulate our new elected commissioners because we certainly need them. I have this to say about our recently departing 2 and our remaining District 3 commissioner, who only got elected by the skin of his teeth because of a third candidate. Last Tuesday, during their very last meeting, they approved a 1 million square foot industrial park, once again breaking the urban service boundary, which they had done for the past 3 years. Well, my friends, the citizens have spoken and have voted both in the United States and in Martin County. I pray and hope that the vote will no longer be a 4-1 and give our new commissioners a helping hand to Commissioner Hurd. She certainly needs it. And the commit to be a 3-2, obeying our very excellent comprehensive plan. We certainly do not need another 4-3 standing our urban service boundary. Please, Commissioners Vargas and Capps, live by your promises and help Hurd. Thank you.
Casey Ingram is followed by Jim Snedeker.
Good morning, Casey Ingram. Congratulations to the newly elected and re-elected commissioners. I hope that your leadership will usher in an era of unprecedented transparency and accountability towards the public whom you serve. However, what seems to be the intentional omission of public input, particularly regarding Brightline, has left me profoundly disheartened. Here's an abbreviated overview with my limited time to catch you up to speed. December 2023, a proposal submitted for Stewart Brightline Station with equal cost sharing between Martin County and Brightline, following the parameters of the 2018 agreement. March 4, Brightline announces Stewart as the chosen station location, sending a letter to officials outlining new requirements. A press conference was held with no mention of these requirements. The county administrator responded in a letter on March 25. Public input and knowledge were absent. It's unclear which commissioners were involved or if agreements were made in private meetings. I have to wonder which commissioners knew. As a reminder, commissioners cannot discuss this with each other privately. The changes included Martin County commits $15 million not only for the train station, but also for all necessary rail infrastructure. Astonishingly, the county agreed to remove Brightline's responsibility of 50% of the station cost. Also removed was Brightline's $1 million commitment toward fencing and only obligates them if they get grant money. The county agreed to give Brightline a 4th parcel, a lot where people park at Sailfish Ballpark in Stewart, to develop for transit-oriented development, such as apartments retail. This item has just fallen silent since this was discovered. The Board of County Commissioners on August 6th scheduled the first public update since December 2023. However, the agenda item was canceled without discussion. On August 12th, the City of Stewart voted to approve a lease without seeing it. The lease was also kept from the public, again not allowing for public input or scrutiny. This is the first time the public finds out Brightline is not contributing financially, contrary to the proposal in 2018 settlement. October 22, BOCC unanimously agrees to put out a bid for Brightline. This was not on the agenda, once again bypassing public scrutiny. Please note that even though the Sunshine Law law does not prohibit a board from adding topics to the agenda of a regularly noticed meeting, the Attorney General's office has advised boards to postpone formal action on any added items that are controversial, yet the BOCC moved forward without public notice. This RFB was done at breakneck speed, published in Demand Star on October 24, and the bid closed on November 1. The county website states, quote, "If any properties become available, the county will advertise the parcels for lease in local newspapers." This was not done. There were other issues with lack of public notification too lengthy to cover in 3 minutes, and those concerns were summarily dismissed at the BOCC meeting. Note, only Brightline could bid, as no other passenger train company has tracks adjacent to the 2 advertised parcels. Yet the Assistant County Administrator stated they put out multiple bids to Sunrail, Tri-Rail, and Amtrak. None of those mentioned companies possessed the necessary infrastructure or the capability to meet the bid's specified requirements. It's somewhat ridiculous to imply otherwise. Finally, residents have never been asked for their opinion via ballot or poll on the issue, not even in 2018. I believe more would support if Brightline was not gaining a free ride on our dime. Moving forward, I sincerely hope for increased transparency in the decision-making process, and I wish you all the best wishes in the next 2 to 4 years. Thank you.
Jim Snedeker is next, followed by John Dial.
Good morning. I'm going to read this. As most of you know, I often don't read things, but limited time. My name is Jim Snedeker. I'd like to congratulate Commissioner Vargas and Commissioner Capps on the recent vote and look forward to supporting you in the future. Along with Merritt Matheson, we've been the primary movers behind the Martin County Forever initiative. I would like to thank you profusely for your support in enabling us to get the referendum and ordinance on the ballot. As is the case with the Taxpayers Association, we did not ask for your endorsement, but the fact that both you and the Taxpayers Association supported us putting it on the ballot is greatly appreciated. As we all know, the 2006 referendum clearly and explicitly stated that facilities such as Sailfish Splash were to be built with the proceeds from that vote. Yet, certain parties have overlooked this fact and tried to kill our referendum and ordinance, stating that ours was the same as the 2006 referendum. To counter this, most fortunately, over the past 3 or so years, you, the commissioners, have been most cooperative in helping us construct a referendum and ordinance that resulted in our building in legally binding guardrails that, if executed properly, will help reinstall trust in all of us. As you know, these guardrails resulted in support from the environmental groups as well as key players such as the Chambers of Commerce and individuals such as Harry MacArthur and others. Perhaps most importantly, I would also like to commend you for hiring and retaining some incredibly professional and skilled staff, specifically Don Donaldson and John Mayle, and including Sarah Woods and Mike Houston. All of these individuals are consummate professionals, and I really can't praise them enough. Martin County is indeed blessed, and I mean blessed, to have people such as these in its employment. Going forward, Merritt and I look forward to supporting you in any way possible and hope that you won't hesitate to call us on and at any time. As I've often said to my colleagues and to a number of you, both at work and in my community service capacity, I encourage feedback and course corrections and hope that you will always feel comfortable giving such input. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And thank you.
John Dial is next, followed by Jolynn Jensen.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is John Dial, 25-year resident in Martin County. I want to say thank you to the existing commission and welcome aboard to the new commission. I don't have anything really written down here because I didn't have time to prepare, but just to reiterate what I've heard and you know, what I believe is we need transparency, especially on this Brightline station. If that information of the agreement is available, I would like to be someone give it to me and let me at least have a look at it, along with, I'm sure, everyone else. I did a little poll myself online and through a couple of the agencies, and it was a resounding 5-1 everybody wants to know what's in that deal. It's not that we're against Brightline, just against paying for all of it. So I would hope that this new county commission and the existing, and congratulations for finally getting the chair position. But I would hope that the county commission would take into account to what the taxpayers and all of us that support you and want to support you in all your decisions, just to be transparent with us on the finances. Thank you very much, and I appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Jolynn Jensen is next, followed by Walter Lloyd. Morning.
Good morning. I'm Jolynn Jensen, and I'm serving as the president of the Rio Civic Club this year. Rio is a neighborhood in Jensen Beach founded in 1893 by German pineapple growers, hence the pronunciation of Rio instead of the Spanish pronunciation of Rio. The Rio Civic Club was founded in 1950, mainly to pave State Road 707, at the time also known as Dixie Highway. The Rio Civic Club constructed the Rio Civic Center in 1951, expanded it in 1964, and donated it to the Martin County Parks and Recreation in 2005. Currently, there are over 1,600 residences and businesses in Rio. Many were built in the 1950s as fishing cottages or a part of an auto park, today known as an RV park. There were motels and restaurants on the river and private marinas. Rio is now experiencing a revitalization with new restaurants opening and redevelopment of residential and commercial property. The Martin County CRA, the Martin County Commissioners and staff, and the Rio NAC have all worked together with the Rio Civic Club to improve streets for vehicles and pedestrians, improve drainage, clean up the area and the St. Lucie River, complete septic to sewer conversions, and redevelop commercial properties. We look forward to continuing that with all of you. We thank those of you who have been on the commission. We congratulate those of you who are new to the commission. And we hope that many of you will join us on March 5th, 2025 for our 75th anniversary celebration. We'll be sure to bring invitations to you all at a future meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Walter Lloyd is next, followed by Carrie Cogle.
Morning, Commissioners. In this season of Thanksgiving, I just wanted to express my thanks for the new commissioners and the new chair. I just believe this is going to bring new perspectives and new representation from the taxpayers. Keep going. Thank you very much. New perspectives and new representation from the taxpayers, and as they voiced in the last election. When it comes to the Brightline issue, I heard, and of course, our comments come before the commissioners' comments. So I did hear one of our commissioners state that traffic was one of the concerns of the public with the Brightline, and that he didn't see that as an issue. But my perspective is much like the Costco, and I realize this board didn't vote on Costco or put that in place, but it's going to be one of those additions to our community which brings traffic from all over the region. Traffic's going to come in the case of Costco, they're going to fill their cars up with groceries and go away. Brightline, they're all going to come in, they're going to go north, they're going to go south, they're going to come back and go away. This is something we could do to keep the quality of life better in our community, keep the traffic from coming down with not so much benefit to it. And the other thing is the transparency around this issue. I don't understand, again, how we hold meetings with no previous notification to the public. And I would ask you, please, going forward, allow us to have a say in these things. give us some information that we can respond to prior to making these decisions. I'm asking you to please stop this thing now and get it back to where we aren't footing 100% of the bill for this private company. Thank you.
Harry Kogel is next, and that's the last request to speak form. If you would like to speak to us, please fill out a request to speak form. Thanks.
Good morning, Commissioners, and welcome Commissioner Capps and Commissioner Vargas. Okay. What are you going to do about this problem? I have never been able to get an answer from the previous board. On numerous occasions, I have asked that Martin County Commissioners to change the morning meetings from 9 a.m. to late afternoon or early evening. The working public is unable to attend morning meetings, or maybe is that the intent. You are able to push through all your projects because of the lack of attendance and the public's lack of opportunity to learn what is going on in our county. This lack of transparency in our county has to stop. You are financially pulling this county apart piece by piece. Also, I have been a member of Save Our Salerno movement for over 2 years, and in that time, our elusive district commissioner has attended 1 out of the 12 NAC meetings. This pretty much summarizes why there is so little communication, transparency, and increased misinformation within our community and with our elected officials. So please don't lecture us on our misinformation. You believe you answer to yourselves only. This past federal election should act as a warning to the board. Be careful who you abuse on your way up. You might need them on your way down. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeff Whitman, Hope Sound. Boy, I've been waiting for this a long time, 24 years. I am so grateful to Eileen and Blake for running. It's a tremendous undertaking. It took a lot of work, a lot of dedication. God bless you all. I'm so happy for you. 2 of you have the opportunity to have a revote on Stewart Commerce Park. You have the opportunity to revote on it if you so decide. I was hoping maybe you have a change of heart. I think it's a very bad precedent for Martin County. But I don't know, maybe you had a change of heart, just saying. And I know how much you love Hope Sound. I know how much you love Martin County. God bless you and congratulations. Thank you so much.
Okay, anybody else wish to address us? For the record, that was Jeff Whitman, and he's going to fill out a request to speak form right now. Let's see. So, Commissioners, it is time for commission comments. Commissioner Vargas, you want to start out?
Sure. I've heard from constituents, and this is before I was even seated, who feel disenfranchised by the swift action to vote for Brightline at the final meeting before this new commission was seated. They feel it was disrespectful and would have been more prudent to just wait 1 more week. Pushing the item through only furthered suspicions of cronyism and creates a perception of exclusion.
Anything else? Commissioners, we can all always propose that there be an agenda item that's placed on a future agenda. If you would like to have a Brightline agenda item brought before us, all you have to do is ask.
Thank you.
Thanks. Commissioner Capps.
Yeah, I would just like to thank a few people who helped me get prepared to take on this role. First, I want to thank our County Administrator, Don Donaldson, and his team for 3 days of orientation that were just excellent. And I feel bad. I kept them all till about 6:15 on a Friday evening, one evening, and I apologize for that once again, but my curiosity and my questions just kept coming. So but they were very kind and gracious and patient with me. Thank you, County Attorney Sarah Woods and your staff for answering many questions and always being available to me during my time of preparation. And then I'd like to thank the board members on several county boards that I was privileged to serve on in the last several years. The Hobe Sound Neighborhood Advisory Committee, the Community Redevelopment Agency, the Local Planning Agency, and the Metropolitan Planning Organization Citizens Advisory Committee. Thanks to the first responders, the Sheriff's Office, Fire Rescue, and Emergency Operations Center for inviting me to tour their offices recently and to have discussions with each one of them. I was incredibly impressed with these folks and all that they do to keep us safe. And then I want to mention a few community organizations that had me in recently to tour their operations that I thought I'd just like to highlight them. Elevate Hope in Port Salerno, led by Rena Spirik, and I was very, very moved at all they do for people in crisis, particularly for the tornado victims as of late. And then House of Hope in Golden Gate, led by Rob Ranieri. They have a small army of volunteers there that do amazing things for people in need. And then the Boys and Girls Club of Martin County, led by Keith Fletcher. If you haven't toured their operations, you would be amazed at what they do for the kiddos in our community. And lastly, the Elliott Museum / House of Refuge / Historical Society of Martin County, led by Robert Steele. And if you haven't been to the Elliott in recent days, please go and take a tour with Rob. It's an amazing depository of incredible artifacts and very interesting things. So I think I'm done.
Thank you. Commissioner Campy.
Madam Chair, I'm not sure how you're going to proceed. I know that there was a consent agenda that was pulled, consent number 4. I know that the folks and their people are here. I was just wondering if after the comments, we could take that one before out of order.
That's what we'll do.
Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Okay.
I'll just welcome Commissioners Vargas and Capps to the board, and I'm all set for today.
Thank you. And I have two things. One is Mr. Snedeker triggered my memory. I would like we have a tentative land selection committee. I think we landed on 9 categories of people who will be appointees to that board. We'll start collecting revenues in January of next year. I'd like to put together that board before, sometime in the near future. So can we have an agenda item to talk about who will represent us in each of those categories? And then we'll have to decide. What I recall last time, we selected the organization, and then the organization made recommendations to the board, and we ratified those decisions about who will sit on the land selection committee. We need to have a discussion about how we're going to do this. So,
Yes, Commissioner, we plan to have your meeting in December.
Okay.
That would give us time to get the committee together the beginning of next year. The actual revenues will probably come in March, April, when we start collecting funds. But anyway, exactly your same thoughts, is that in the next meeting, we would present you the sales tax agenda and the committee and seek input from you all on getting that appointment. Probably the appointments be made in January.
okay, terrific. And also, commissioners, we can initiate comprehensive plan amendments. The board can at any time, and I'm going to propose that we revise the rural lifestyle amendment, and that we note that we advertise that, and then it be brought back to us. And at the very, very least, that amendment be revised to exclude all freestanding urban service boundaries. to be used as a basis for any rural lifestyle proposals. And I would like that to be brought back also at the next meeting for discussion. Any other comments? Mr. Donaldson? I'm fine, thank you. Okay, Ms. Woods? Then we will take up the consent pull, which is a request by Commissioner Vargas to alter an existing preserve area, an amendment of an approved preserve area management plan. Take it away. You want to tell us why you pulled it? What?
Yeah, I had a lot of concerns about this particular item. And there's an existing preserve area on this property. I don't quite understand why this was not built on in the past. And I'd like to get those answers. The other thing is, I did look at the reference material, and I see that the applicant is offering additional preserve area with the amended change to construct the property, the home, on area that previously was not permissible. There exist gopher tortoise burrows, and I feel that by offering this increase is going to destroy the gopher tortoise burrows. You know, what exists there today will never be the same again. If you were to put a structure, if we were allowed for you to put the structure here. And, you know, again, I've been receiving a lot of phone calls and emails. The people of Martin County are very upset, deeply upset, as evidenced in this campaign, this election that just passed, about what they feel is the corruption, allowing amendment after amendment to take place with no questioning. And I believe you're requesting an amendment to an existing preserve boundary under the approved Preserve Area Management Plan, the PAMP, which was issued in 2008. Be like swapping out certain portions of the Everglades. We'll take this piece of land over here so that we can construct an Everglades area which is protected. So I feel there should be no exceptions to the PAMP.
Staff?
Good morning. My name is Maddie Gierzek. I'm with Growth Management. I'm a senior environmental planner. With me is my supervisor, Mr. Dara DeLu.
Good morning.
If you don't mind, I'd like to introduce this case from the beginning and then get to your questions, Commissioner. This is a request from Mr. and Mrs. Bellucci for an amended PAMP to the existing preserve area boundary under the approved PAMP that was issued in 2008. Pursuant to Section 4.36C Land Development Regulations, Martin County Code, any alteration to the size, shape, or design of a previously approved preserve area shall be approved by the Board of County Commissioners. This proposal concerns the property located at 6908 Southwest Moore Street in Palm City. In 2008, a PAMP known as PON LLC PAMP was approved by the Growth Management Division as part of an individual lot development for a single-family home that was associated with a building permit that was applied for at the time. This building permit was ultimately canceled, and the lot was never developed and remained what we refer to as a virgin lot. This parcel is approximately 4.9 acres in size, and it has a future land use of agri-ranchette or agricultural ranchette and a zoning of A2. At the time of the PAMP issuance in 2008, the vegetative communities on the property consisted entirely of upland habitat, resulting in 0.83 acres being preserved under the PAMP in 2008. The current property owners have applied for a single-family home building permit and are requesting a reconfiguration of the existing upland preserve area to accommodate the design of the proposed home and associated infrastructures. The approval of this request would also result in an increase of the preservation area. The proposed preserve area is located to the south portion of the property and is wider and larger than the current preserve area. Since the entire property is comprised of common pine flatwood upland habitat that is uniform in cover, there is no change to the type or quality of the habitat within the proposed preserve area. As I mentioned, this proposal will increase the preserved area from 0.83 acres to 1.23 acres. All details of current and proposed preserve areas are shown in Exhibit 4 or page 75 of the docket. If you'd like, I can move to it, or someone else can.
Donna, can you go to page 75?
So if you can see here, the areas that are marked in green are the current approved preserve area. The area that is marked in yellow or brownish, that is the proposed preserve area, which also includes the overlapping portion of the previously approved preserve. On November 1st, 2024, a staff site inspection was concluded by Sean McCarthy of the Growth Management Department. At the time, Mr. McCarthy observed no violations present and verified that the common pine flatwoods upland habitat within the current preserve is the same as the habitat within the proposed preserve area. In addition, minimal to no exotics were present throughout the entire lot. This proposed PAMP amendment has been reviewed by the environmental staff and director of the Growth Management Department and has been approved as meeting the applicable requirements of all Martin County Code, including the land development regulations and comprehensive growth management plan. The applicant has provided a need for the change and provided an equal amount, or in this case, actually an increased amount, of upland habitat to compensate for the proposed alteration as required by the land development regulations. Therefore, the Growth Management Department Director recommends approval of the PAMP amendment by the Board of County Commissioners. County staff has also verified that the amended preserve area currently meets all the requirements of the original PAMP with a net increase of common pine flatwoods upland habitat preserved under the proposed PAMP amendment site plan. This concludes my presentation. Getting back to your questions, ma'am. The new preserved area, the new proposed preserved area actually would encompass gopher tortoise burrows that are currently not captured by the current preserve area. So actually approving this would protect those species, and in addition would create wildlife corridors with adjacent properties.
And if I may just help you interpret what you're seeing here, this square area is the existing preserve area that was established in 2008, and the proposed change in preserve configuration follows this kind of trapezoidal shape here, and now captures areas of gopher tortoise burrows. So those burrows would be protected in preserved habitat over here where they're not in the current preserve area configuration. And we do have the property owner here today and his environmental consultant that could answer any questions about gopher tortoises if you have those.
Can you put page number 74 on the screen?
Thank you, Donna.
Yeah, it's just 74, yep. And I want to look at specifically at the, this map. Shows where these burrows are, and they are within the new PAMP.
That's correct.
They were not within the old PAMP.
That's correct.
Correct.
Commissioner Campy?
Barring the opportunity for the applicant or his representatives to make a comment, I did have the opportunity to go by, take a look at this property. The reason it was not done, the house was not built, obviously, everyone knows 2008 was the beginning, or for some people, the middle of the recession, and the folks that are now living on the property are looking to build as Commissioner Hurd said, the gopher tortoise mounds are now incorporated into the PAMP, and I would make a motion to accept staff's recommendation.
Commissioner Heatherington?
Yes. I would second your motion, Commissioner Campy. I think this is a great opportunity for a working family here in Martin County to build a single-family home. And in addition, we're getting more of a preserve area, so I can appreciate that. There's an increased preserve, and I love when locals actually build and stay here, so I'll second the motion.
Would Mr. or Mrs. Bellucci like to talk to us this morning? Good morning.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for listening to our story, and thank you for all your work putting this together. Basically, we worked with our environmental consultant and looked at the property prior to buying it and learning this process to make sure we followed all the county rules and regulations, which are not easy to learn. And so we came up with this PAMP that correlates the preserve area required as well as protecting the natural beauty of this property. So that's why we designed it the way we did, and so that the house can be anatomically correct on the parcel and hopefully do everything at one time. So, thank you.
May I ask him a question?
Sure.
Sir, how much money did it cost you to do all this work?
A lot. More than a little, I can tell you that. Between time, energy, equipment, the PAMP, the environmental assessment, there's a lot involved in it, so. But I appreciate
Commissioner
the
Vargas, do you have any
process.
questions?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously had a design for a home originally, correct?
Not until we bought the property, but yeah.
Okay, but then you did. Why don't you just keep within the design of the property without having to request an amendment?
Well, because the original one was someone else's dream for their property. And at the time, I don't believe there was any of the natural habitat accounted for on that square. Like, I have some very beautiful oak trees that I don't want to have to touch in order to put the house there and things like that. So, and the tortoises I believe, weren't shown on there before I bought the property. So, in an effort to keep my trees intact as well as the tortoises and get a nice layout, I think it captured everything we needed with this PAMP.
This sets a precedent for everybody saying, well, he did it, so now I want it. And this, I don't feel, is in the best interest of the majority of people in Martin County that want to continue to see amendments and exceptions. I made a statement at the beginning. I've had many, many people call me. And we have to, draw a line in the sand. We really
Yes,
do.
ma'am, I agree with you, but also, at what point does a property owner get to make decisions on his property, as far as you buy a piece of land, right? And then you find out that you're told that other people have more say in your actual land than you do.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I'm all for by rights, and you can certainly build a home there. We're not denying that whatsoever. But just not to request an exception.
Yes, ma'am, but it follows all the rules, and I addressed this before I bought the property that this was able to be done, and I was told it was, and so we bought the property. Otherwise, we probably would not have, and we would have bought the property next to us. But again, it's, I still have to pay taxes on 5 acres, even though I'm not allowed to touch but 3.75. And then you're not allowed, you know what I'm saying? So I think there's give and take, and by giving more preserve area and protecting these tortoises, otherwise, it's kind of a contradiction,
Well,
right? You want to protect the tortoises, but don't want to change the preserve area to do that.
well, no. I mean, there is area for you to construct a home. We had a
Correct.
property in the Florida Keys. Same thing. We had to continue to pay taxes. And there was already septic to sewer there. So we had to take care of what we had to take care of. We were not allowed to build. So others were making a decision for us, so I understand what you're saying. But unfortunately, there were too many changes and amendments. The Florida Keys is not the way it used to be, me growing up there. So I totally understand what you're saying. This is where I stand.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Heatherington,
That's an old light.
any further comments? There's a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
We will now go on to
Yeah, they did
committee appointments. Ms. Gordon? Do you have all your NAC voting sheets?
No, I do, it's right there.
She's pretty spry.
Thank you.
Want to take some time? Want to go on to the next item, or?
Let's keep moving forward.
Okay. And we'll go on to Department Quasi-Judicial 1, which is request approval of the revised final site plan for West Jensen Planned Unit Development, Phase 1B, Parcel 12.7. This is quasi-judicial, so do you have any ex parte disclosures?
No, I do not. It's already been filed.
Okay.
Yes.
How about you?
If I have any, they have been filed.
If I have any, they've been filed.
I don't have any, and I filed that.
I don't have any, and that's been filed.
All right. So, all right, next is,
Swearing the witnesses.
okay, can we swear the witnesses?
Raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Provided all necessary paperwork to the clerk?
Turning a copy of my work history and the agenda item as Exhibit 1.
Excellent. Proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm John Sennett, Senior Planner with Growth Management. I'm presenting the revised final site plan application for West Jensen PUD, Phase 1B, Parcel 12.7. This project is for the construction of a Fifth Third Bank branch. This is a request by Bowman Consulting Group on behalf of BW Jensen Federal LLC for revised final site plan approval to develop an approximately 2,417 square foot bank building with drive-through teller lanes and associated infrastructure. The 1.54 acre site currently contains a vacant restaurant building located at 4110 Northwest Federal Highway at the southwest corner of Northwest Eugenia Street and Northwest Federal Highway in Jensen Beach. Included is a request for a certificate of public facilities exemption. Site's approximately 1.54 acres. It's located at the corner of Eugenia Street and Federal Highway in Jensen Beach. The site will be accessed via an existing internal drive which connects to Eugenia Street. There's no proposed direct access from US 1. This large building to the southwest, that's the Lowe's, and directly to the west across Eugenia is the BJ's. The site is located within Phase 1B of the West Jensen PUD. The West Jensen PUD is a development of regional impact, which was originally approved in 1989. The non-residential parcels of Phase 1B of West Jensen total approximately 130 acres along the Federal Highway and Goldenrod Road corridor. The proposed project is consistent with the most recent revised master plan for Phase 1B, which was approved in November of 2022. The project does not result in any increase in square footage beyond what was previously approved in the master plan. The future land use of the property is general commercial, and it's surrounded by other properties with that same future land use designation. The subject site has been occupied by an approximately 5,300 square foot restaurant since 2003. This building has been vacant for some time. The current application proposes to demolish the existing building and construct an approximately 2,417 square foot bank building with drive-through teller lanes. The development is consistent with the most recent West Jensen Phase 1B revised master plan approved in November 2022. This is the revised final site plan. As you can see, the primary entrance to the building is along the northwest facade. It faces northwest Eugenia Street. The teller lanes are along the southeast facade. And to the west, you see the internal access drive with the proposed connection. The development is subject to the commercial design provisions of Article 4, Division 20, Land Development Regulations. The applicant is requesting alternative compliance from certain commercial design provisions, particularly for the northeast facade and southeast facade. Staff recommend approval. The Board of County Commissioners is the final decision maker for this application. We have here the architectural elevations. This one at the top is the northwest elevation where the primary entrance is. This elevation faces Eugenia Street. At the bottom is the northeast facade, which faces US 1. Second sheet here, we have the southeast elevation on top that shows the drive-through teller lanes. And at the bottom is the southwest elevation, which faces the existing Lowe's building. Pursuant to Article 10, Table 10.5 F9, Martin County Land Development Regulations, review of this application is not required by the local planning agency. Development review staff have found the B.W. Jensen Federal LLC application to comply with all applicable regulations and the Comprehensive Growth Management Plan as detailed in the staff report. Staff recommendation is to move that the board receive and file the agenda item and its attachments, including the staff report as Exhibit 1, and move that the board adopt the resolution approving the revised final site plan for West Jensen PUD Phase 1B, Parcel 12.7. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for staff?
I'm very familiar with that property, familiar with the restaurant before also, and I did review the details about this. So my only concern is US 1 is like a speedway, and I see that you have Eugenia Street and also the Lowe's as ingress and egress for this property. Is that correct?
Correct. There's no direct access proposed from US 1. The project will utilize the existing connection internal to the site.
Any further questions? Is there an applicant?
Would it be further away?
No,
I didn't think there was an applicant.
I didn't either.
Been sworn in? Did he stand to get sworn in?
Good morning.
Good morning,
Have you been sworn in?
I have not.
Would you please raise your right hand and be sworn in? Anyone else who will be testifying also, please stand up, raise your hand, and be sworn in.
Raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
We were sworn in this morning as well, so it's okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Christian Morales. I'm with Bowman Consultant on behalf of the applicant. We just wanted to thank John and staff for working with us through the application. As you mentioned, we are proposing approximately 2,417 square foot bank, which is to replace the existing restaurant building. The existing restaurant buildings are around 5,100 square feet or so, we're reducing the square footage by half. And like staff mentioned, we're not proposing any new direct access to US 1. We are going to be using the existing internal accesses to the property. And the proposed use, which I just kind of understand your question about the concerns regarding traffic on US 1, is a lot less of an intensive use than a restaurant use. And we're also diminishing the square footage of the building overall. So the intent is to reduce the overall square footage of what was previously approved, reduce the intensity, so we don't expect any anticipated issues with traffic. Yeah.
Thank you. Commissioner Campy.
After public comment, I would make a motion to accept staff's recommendation and my thanks to the applicant. That restaurant has sat empty and derelict, vacant for a long time. And for the folks that are entering our county from north, it's one of the first lots you see, and forever it's been vacant. So I'm happy to see that someone has taken the opportunity to revitalize it. And like you said, less intensive use, smaller building, less traffic demand. So my pleasure to support your project.
Thank you.
Is there any public comment? There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you,
you all.
Commissioners.
We'll take up Department 1. There are no items. Department 2, contracts that meet the threshold for board approval of $1 million or greater. Ms. Brotherton.
Good morning, Christy Brotherton. I'm your Chief Procurement Officer. I have 2 items for your consideration today. The first one is a contract approval for a continuing services agreement for grinder electrical control panel installation. This contract has a maximum not to exceed value of $1,500,000 and a maximum not to exceed term of 5 years. And staff is recommending that the board award the contract to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, which is Apex Electric, and move that the board authorize the county administrator or designee to execute all documents related to this request. The next item we have is a contract amendment for the Building 17 renovation for the Reach Center. Staff is recommending that the board approve this change order to All Site Construction Incorporated in the amount of $173,398.37 and move that the board authorize the county administrator or designee to execute all documents related to this request. And that concludes this item.
Commissioner Capps.
I'm sorry, that
That's
was
an old line?
That was an old one.
All right. Any questions for staff?
Seeing no questions, I'll move staff's recommendation for approval.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Thank you. We'll go back to board appointments, which is
B and C1.
somewhere. Yeah, B and C 1.
Everybody hand their voting sheets in?
Yeah.
I think I did.
Yeah, just circle.
Two in each column. Just under mine. There you go. And this is 1. Okay. Thank you.
Donna Gordon for administration. There are 2 vacancies on the Golden Gate Neighborhood Advisory Committee. I didn't receive any applications for that, but I will solicit again soon. Hope Sound, need 2 people, and let's see. Mrs. Mary Gavin received 4 votes. Mr. Michael Banis received 3 votes. And I'm asking that you determine whose term will end next February and February of 2027.
Any preferences? Commissioner Capps?
Yes, we'll make, I would propose that we make Ms. Gavin's term the longest.
Is there a second? There's a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? That motion passes unanimously.
And for Port Salerno, there was a supplemental memo, and Mr. Casey Cass received 3 votes. That's it.
Motion to accept Casey Cass as the new member.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? That motion passes unanimously. That brings us to the end of the meeting, where we do commissioner comments. Any comments, Commissioner Vargas?
No, I think I've made enough comments this morning.
Thank you. Commissioner Capps?
I'm here, I'm good.
Commissioner Campy?
I'm all set.
And Commissioner Heatherington?
I'm all set.
I have none. Mr. Donaldson?
I have none this afternoon, thank you.
Ms. Woods? We're adjourned.
Awesome. Very good.